At the end of this chapter, you'll be able to identify and locate the components of the hydraulic system, describe the layout of the hydraulic system and identify its subsystems and interface, explain the operation of the hydraulic system main components, identify and explain the controls associated with the hydraulic system, identify and explain the indications and annunciators associated with the hydraulic system. The ATR-72 has two independent working hydraulic systems: the blue system and the green system. They supply hydraulic power to the aircraft's various systems. The hydraulic system has two AC-wild electric motor-driven pumps, the blue and the green pump. The blue system also has an auxiliary DC electric motor-driven pump that can be energized manually on ground only by the auxiliary pump pedestal switch, even with the battery selected to off. A control panel and indications are located in the cockpit. The nominal hydraulic system pressure is 3,000 psi. The hydraulic bay is located in the left-hand landing gear fairing along with the common hydraulic tank. There is a direct reading quantity gauge on the tank. There are 3 hydraulic accumulators, one for the blue, one for the green, and one for the emergency and parking brake system. They are located in the hydraulic bay and contain a gauge. If the hydraulic level drops below a minimum, a caution is displayed in the cockpit. Take a look at the manufacturer's specification on hydraulic fluid for the ATR-72, HY Jet 4 or Skydrol LD4. Let's see the users of the two hydraulic systems. The blue hydraulic system supplies hydraulic power for wing flaps extension and retraction, for wing flap actuating hydraulic jacks, spoilers, 2 spoiler actuating hydraulic jacks, nose wheel steering, 1 steering hydraulic jack, propeller brake for the right-hand engine, emergency and parking braking for the 4 main landing gear wheels. The green hydraulic system supplies hydraulic power for landing gear extension and retraction, 3 landing gear actuating hydraulic jacks, 3 landing gear up-lock release actuators, 3 landing gear down-lock release actuators, and normal braking for the 4 main landing gear wheels. Let's now look at both systems in more detail. Both hydraulic systems are provided with a common 2-section hydraulic tank, 1 section for each system. The tank is a non-pressurized reservoir and is a direct air fluid contact type with a maximum capacity of 9.6 liters or 2.54 US gallons. The tank has a direct reading quantity gauge for fluid quantity check. If during operation the quantity in one of the compartments drops below 2.5 liters or 0.67 gallons, a low-level alert will be activated associated with the system compartment. The ATR blue and green hydraulic systems are normally pressurized by their own AC-wild electric motor-driven pump. In case of a hydraulic pump failure, the other pump, through the cross-feed valve, can supply the respective system users. We'll see more of the cross-feed valve operation in the following lessons. The blue hydraulic system is also fitted with an auxiliary DC motor-driven pump, which provides hydraulic power in a lower flow rate to operate the users of the blue hydraulic system if the blue AC wild hydraulic pump fails to operate. The DC auxiliary hydraulic pump works automatically when certain conditions are met. The auxiliary electric pump system can also be operated on ground through an auxiliary hydraulic pump switch located on the pedestal, and allows the recharge of the blue system pressure and brake accumulator for the parking and emergency brakes. The blue hydraulic system supplies hydraulic oil pressure to two hydraulic power accumulators. The first one is a system accumulator and acts as a shock absorber against system pressure surges. The second one provides a reserve supply of fluid under pneumatic pressure to effect emergency and parking braking for the four main landing gear wheels. Note, the accumulators are pre-charged with nitrogen at a pressure of 1,500 psi. The accumulator pre-charge can be checked on the dedicated direct reading gauges located on the hydraulic bay. The pre-charge must be checked before pressurizing the system by using any hydraulic pump. The green hydraulic system is normally pressurized by its own AC Wild electric motor-driven pump. In case of failure of the hydraulic pump, the green system users can also be supplied by the blue system through the crossfeed valve. The green hydraulic system is fitted with an accumulator acting as a shock absorber against system pressure surges. Observe that in hotel mode configuration, the hydraulic power is not available because both AC Wild generators are driven by the associated engine propeller gearbox. In this scenario, hydraulic power is available only by using the DC auxiliary hydraulic pump or a hydraulic cart. Let's see the electrical supplies to the hydraulic system units. The AC Wild Bus 1 supplies power to the blue pump. The AC Wild Bus 2 supplies power to the green pump. The DC Bus 2 is the normal power supply to the auxiliary pump and is also used for control power. The DC standby bus powers the pressure indicator and the crossfeed valve. If either the blue or the green pump fails, a manually operated crossfeed valve allows supplying hydraulic power from the running hydraulic system to the failed system users. For example, the green pump fails. Can you see the pressure drop on the indicator? At 1,500 psi, the low pressure indication on the pump push button illuminates. Now let's look at the hydraulic alerts. For all hydraulic alerts, there are three identical parts: the master caution light, the hydraulic indicator on the cap, and the aural single chime. There are three possible alerts concerning the hydraulic system. If the tank compartment fluid quantity is less than 2.5 liters, the master caution light flashes amber. The hydraulic amber light on the cap illuminates. The associated low-level amber light on the overhead panel illuminates, and an aural single chime comes on. Remember, if a hydraulic tank low-level alert is indicated in either the blue or green hydraulic system, the crossfeed valve is inhibited to open. If the pump case drain line temperature is more than 121 degrees Celsius, the master caution light flashes amber. The hydraulic amber light on the CAP illuminates. The associated overheat amber light on the overhead panel illuminates, and an aural single chime comes on. If the pump delivery pressure is less than 1,500 psi and all logical conditions for pumps running are met, the master caution light flashes amber. The hydraulic amber light on the cap illuminates. The associated pump low pressure amber light on the overhead panel illuminates, and an aural single chime comes on. Remember the 3 hydraulic alerts: low level, overheat, low pressure. This is the hydraulic system, where you can see both pumps are operating. On the panel, you see the blue pump and the green pump push buttons. These 2 push buttons operate in the same way. They activate or deactivate the corresponding AC wild electric motor-driven pump. Observe the blue pump push button. The switch is now depressed and the blue pump is energized. The off legend and the low pressure legend are extinguished. The auxiliary pump operation is different than the main pump operation. When the auxiliary pump push button is depressed, the automatic mode of the pump is armed. In the auto mode, the auxiliary pump automatically starts to operate if blue pump pressure drops below 1,500 psi and propeller brake is released and gear handle is selected down and at least one engine is running. Release the push button to deactivate the pump. You know how the auxiliary pump operates. There's a push button on the hydraulic power panel to control the auto mode. There is another switch for the auxiliary pump called the auxiliary pump pedestal switch. The switch is located in the left forward area of the pedestal. When all conditions necessary to automatically operate the auxiliary hydraulic pump are not fulfilled, and you push the auxiliary pump pedestal switch, the auxiliary pump starts to operate and automatically stops after 30 seconds. During pump operation, the hydraulic pressure indicator is also powered. Note that the 30 seconds temporization is an MFC function. If the MFC system is not energized, the auxiliary hydraulic pump runs as long as the auxiliary pump pedestal switch is kept pressed. Caution: the auxiliary pump pedestal switch connects DC battery power to the pump even when the battery master switch is off. If you operate the auxiliary pump pedestal switch too often, you discharge the battery. The hydraulic pressure indicator, located on the instrument panel, operates electrically. The indications are in PSI times 1000. The normal hydraulic pressure indication is 3000 psi for all indicators. With no electrical power, the indicator shows 0. The lower area contains the indicator for the hydraulic systems. The letters B and G identify the hydraulic system. Red dots on the blue and green gauge indicate the alert thresholds of 1,500 psi. The top center area contains the pressure indicator for the emergency and parking brake accumulator. Note that the emergency and parking brake accumulator pressure is only displayed if the pressure is above 1,600 psi.